in any classroom in Florida. The bill was a clear attempt to push LGBT people to the fringes of society and mark us as taboo. We are not taboo, we are human beings, with the same God-given rights as anyone else. Monday was a stark reminder that we must work to preserve those rights. But even in the darkness, it cannot always be night. Aurora is nicknamed the City of Lights because of the leadership we took, being one of the city's first in the country to install electric lights. Soon the City of Lights will shine brightly again as we lead the nation in the creation of the first LGBT advisory board in the area. The purpose of the board will be to promote, encourage, educate, and preserve LGBTQ culture and history, to serve as a bridge between the LGBTQ community and all other communities within the city, and to encourage civil engagement within the LGBT community. It will be a public body that will focus specifically on the needs and challenges facing the LGBT community and in Aurora, and will reduce stigmas facing the community by being active and doing service. Much of the negativity and stigma facing the LGBT community is based on fear and ignorance, but through service and being an active part of the city, we will showcase ourselves as regular people. Once again, Aurora will lead and shine forth as a light in the darkness. If we pass this legislation, which is currently being drafted by the mayor's office, I look forward to working with you to secure its passage by June, and I'll be running around for if anybody has any questions. Thank you. I yield back to my time.
Any additional speakers, clerk?
No, Mr.
Thank you very much. And before we go on, that concludes our public speaking. Before we go on to committee reports, Mr. Muhammad, will you please speak with Mr. Dan Richardson about potentially lighting up our bridge purple for Light It Up Purple at the April National Donate Life Month. Thank you very much. Let's go ahead to the committee reports. Chairman Seville, can you give the Buildings on Economic Development Committee report, please?
Yes, Mayor, we did not meet, the meeting was canceled, so there was no BZ&E committee to report on this.
Thank you, kind sir. Chairman Franco, can you give the Finance Committee report?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. The Finance Committee met on March 24, 2022, and reviewed the following items. First one is 22-0077, a resolution to append approved resolution R21-111 dated 4/26/2021 from Data Defenders LLC, 111 Jackson Boulevard, Suite 1700, Chicago, Illinois, for $336,697.20. And this is an amendment to the existing contract to add additional services that the IT department feels are necessary for cyber protection.
Mr. Mayor. Alderman Buck. Thank you. Can we have a presentation on this from staff?
Please.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. I'm Linda Carmody, Director, Cyber and Technology Desk. I'm here today to request additional funds to improve the city's cybersecurity posture. Specifically, we are asking for 4 tasks whose lead is based upon the lessons learned from the phishing incident in November 2021 and to continue the other services. So there are 4 tasks here. The first one is the incident response professional service hours. This is one-time payment for the services during the incident provided by data defenders. The second one is a additional professional services for threat intelligence to be more proactive and provide support and enhance the security for water treatment plant. The third one is the Know Before Security Awareness Training Software subscription. So this is the training and security awareness campaign activities to the employees of the city. The fourth one is a Crowdstrike Antivirus module subscription. So this is the security of the endpoints of the users, and replacing the antivirus expired before with Microsoft. These 3 and 4 tasks are already provided by different vendors, and now we are moving these services under the managed security services. So just everything under one umbrella, and by combining these services, we we are saving more. So my recommendation is to approve this resolution. And thank you. Have any questions?
Mr. Buck, Alderman Buck.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. So the original was about 3.2 million, and then we had the one-time payment for the incident, which they helped out with, which we're very appreciative of. So under the $3.2 million contract, what is, I mean, we have ongoing service, but if some other incident happens, will there be another $330,000 charge? I need to see what's covered by our 3.2 million. We don't have an additional charge, and what is going to be, an incident that is going to have an additional charge.
So the additional charge is only for the incident happened and the protection is provided for the service. So the other charges, we are trying to protect whatever we have the services provided already provided. So now, to be honest, it is everyday new vectors, new expanding attack surface. So we can't predict what is going to happen in the future, but we are trying to be proactive to have all the services. So we never thought about the remote work, right? We never had like cloud environment or digital services. So when we are having the new technology that is coming with all these vulnerabilities. So we have to think ahead of all this, and we have to protect.
Okay. So now, if there is another phishing incident, will that be covered under our 3.6 million, or will we have to pay data defenders an additional amount of money?
So the incident happens, we may have to, if something really happens, if they provide extra services, we have to pay.
Okay.
So we have the cyber insurance to protect some part of that. We didn't go up to that. So whatever the incident happened, we could analyze it within a number and we protect it. We may have to pay if something happens.
I believe Mr. Anderson wants to add to it, and I don't think there's an unreasonable question from Alderman Buck, because it sounds like, I don't mean to clarify for him, but we're already paying $3.2 million. What exactly does that cover, and why do we have to pay additional money every time we have an incident?
Jeff Anderson, City Deputy CEO.
Go ahead.
So, when the incident happened in November, they helped us, right? We had an after action. We looked at it and said, what can we learn, right? What could we have done better? And we found some deficiencies in what we were doing. We found out, there were some techniques and tools that we could have used that would have found out what was happening sooner before it was such a large incident. So that, think of it as almost like after an incident in your home, you then reevaluate your insurance. Right? What am I actually covering here? What procedures and policies are they looking at? So we have a couple of extra tools now in our arsenal to help us detect these things. We also then brought our phishing campaign and training all under the Data Defenders umbrella, so it's not spread out under multiple vendors.
And that wasn't there before?
It was under a different vendor.
So now we're not paying that vendor the same amount of money?
Correct.
Gotcha. How much was that? Who was that vendor, and how much were we paying?
So we had a dedicated technology for Know Before campaign. That is, we were paying before 30,000. Now it is going to be 20,000 per annum. The Crowdstrike Antivirus, we were paying to Microsoft. It was around 50,000. Now we are going to pay 39,939.
That doesn't equal the $300.
No, so those are the two additional services we brought in.
Gotcha.
Consolidated under this. So that's part of the four we have. There's two additional services. One was the fees for what they paid in November. The remainder then is the additional services. That's why that's point number 2. The additional professional services.
Gotcha.
For water treatment in particular.
Alderman Buck.
Okay. Yeah, so, now I understand it's IT, so you cannot cover everything. things are moving too fast and changing too fast, and it's just the way the world works. But I'm gathering what you're saying, Mr. Anderson, a general phishing incident now going forward is going to be covered, a general one, and we will not pay an additional amount. If it's something we haven't seen before or nobody knows about, of course, then we got to deal with that. But am I correct in saying that?
That's likely a fair statement. You know, if there's another incident, we'll have another after action. We'll gather and get together, everyone on our team, understand exactly what happened and make sure, was this something we could have detected with the tools we had? Right? And the answer in this case was, you know what, additional tools would have made this easier, right?
Well, we won't get a $340,000.
No, there will be continuing, probably, regardless of incident, continuing training, right? These things just continue to get smarter, right? So there'll be ongoing additional costs there on the people side of things.
Can you speak into the microphone, Lila?
So people are the weakest link here. So we can predict the technology, but not the people. So that's how, like, I can't promise it's not going to happen. No.
I understand you laid that out perfectly in the memo. You know, that we, as employees of the city, we need to be careful. Yeah, that's understandable. But I think we're just trying to understand generally what's going to be covered under the contract, and you know what's going to come back to finance for, you know, an addendum, and hopefully it's not $320,000.
So under this contract, we have 1,780 hours professional hours. So if something is going beyond that, we may have to pay.
Thank you. Alderman Smith.
Yes, so I don't really think we've still got the answer of what the 3.2 million does cover, and if it's too much to talk about right here, perhaps you can send it forward to us before our next meeting, so that we have some idea what, it's a lot of money, we have some idea to what it's actually covering, and what type of phishing episodes or situations it would cover, evidently not this past one that we just had.
Yes, Alderman, that's a good question, right? And we can pull up what we've included originally in the previous resolution, kind of consolidate that.
Yes, that would be great.
A little better, more easily understood. You know, this particular thing, as Leila said, it's a combination of hours, professional service hours, right, as well as software and hardware tools we brought in over the course of time of our relationship. So whether it's been antivirus tools, whether it's been redoing the entire network around the Dollar Tree facility, our production facility, or upgrading some of our network components as well as the hardware. It's been a litany of things we've been pulling in.
Thank you.
Hold on. Armisville?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I just had a follow-up question about something that Leila said. Leila, you mentioned that people are our weakest link. I'm sure what I imagine you're talking about is the emails that they're opening, right? So my question to you is there any thought given your some type of supervisory staff or monitoring incoming emails first before it allows people to open them up and make an accident occur?
Do you monitor emails before they come in?
But software is doing this, not human beings?
Correct. So when it comes to that standpoint, especially around emails, we are following best practices by Gartner and many other agencies out there that tell us. So we use the Microsoft tool set. We're using all of their cloud-based tools to filter and protect us that direction. We also have two products on the end user desktop that do very similar things, right? So to try and contain anything that might happen.
I understand. Just to share with you, the company that I work for, all the emails are monitored first before I get to see them. So somebody's statistically looking at that before they forward them to me to see if it's a legitimate email or not. So I don't know if you've given any thought to that, if that's even practical or even appropriate, but I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Understood. Can't speak to the size of your organization. If folks receiving emails, it could be tough to scale.
we're in 13 states. So, we get thousands of emails every day. Thank you.
Mr. Alderman Jenkins.
But one of the things we do now is when we get emails, it goes into, if you think it's spam or whatever, it goes to the spam folder, and then we're asked if this is, if it isn't or it isn't, and then we're the ones that, release it. But also, IT, you guys do a test. You've done it in the past where you send out to us an email, and it's, either from what we've been told not to do, some of us do it. We've been good at not doing it, but some of us have done it. So we're going to continue doing those kind of tests to keep us on our toes, right?
Absolutely, and that's what Lisa was talking about in steps 3 and 4 in the resolution, right? Those are continuing user trainings that are going to continue on. If you happen to open the wrong one, you're going to be asked to take some training.
And each one of us up here have passed each one of those campaigns, right?
I can tell you I didn't pass it. I've had to take the training a couple times. Now, Mr. Anderson, you compared our policy with data defenders as an insurance policy for your home. And for example, in your home, your policy might cover fire, might cover earthquakes, might cover even a car driving into the side of your home, but doesn't necessarily cover, say, flooding because you're not in a flood zone. But flooding could happen, and that's not covered in your insurance policy because you didn't purchase the flooding insurance. So is that kind of what happened here? And when you give us the breakdown, can you break it down in that way? What the 3.2 million covers, and what it is that this new 300,000 covers? So we just have an idea and break it down and try to as simply as possible.
Yes, sir. Glad the analogy worked.
Yeah. Any other questions? Unfinished. Thank you very much. So give us that information and we'll discuss it and talk about it, on City Council.
Next item on the agenda is 22-0190, a resolution authorizing execution of labor agreement between the City of Aurora and Local 461 of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Afl-Cio. And this is a 3-year agreement for 3-year period with wage increases that are in line with the increases bargained for other groups. Next one is 22-0197, a resolution authorizing the purchase of one 2022 wheel coach Ford F-550 4x4 gas type 1 ambulance from Fire Service Inc., St. John, Indiana, in the amount of $326,903, as well as a vehicle setup and medical equipment and supplies for a total cost of $405,253 for the Aurora Fire Department. And this purchase is for the new proposed Fire Station 13, scheduled to open in 2024. Due to the amount of time necessary for delivery, this purchase needs to be done soon so as they have the ambulance ready when the station opens.
No objections, item go consent.
Thank you. Next one is 22-0205, a resolution approving of third-party administrative services for cities and schools to administer the 2022 summer programs, the amount not to exceed $194,000 for the Community Service Division.
No objections, item go consent. I'm sorry, Alderman Sudo.
Just a quick question. Do we have the location set yet for these camps and the like?
No, we need you at the microphone. We can have the youth services person come up if you know the person that can identify them. Bless you.
So for the locations, we obviously always want to make sure that we are representing each public school district, as well as bringing back our citywide drama camp under Arlene Hawks, actually, which we're really excited about. So for West Aurora schools, I believe we are at Hill. Yeah, it's between Hill and Hall every year, so we're going to be at Hill for West Aurora. For District 308, we are at the Wheatlands. Homestead, I'm sorry. Thank you so much. I'm glad she's here. And for District 204, we're currently working with, typically at Georgetown, they're having, a lot of schools are having construction. I want to preface with that. So we're really trying to find alternative space. So right now we're looking at potentially Fisher Middle School, just working with the administration there on their construction project. And then with East Aurora schools, we're still looking at the option because again, there's a lot of construction going on. So we're hoping to have that finalized within the next week or two.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sir,
We have no
Alderman Harper.
idea, we have no idea what these are schools at all.
So normally we have it at Fred Rogers Magnet Academy. I do want to also add that this is the city-sponsored camp. This is not including the district camps that are funded through the 21st Century Grant. That is administered by CIS as well, which will be at several of the elementary schools at District 131. We're just still awaiting the space that we will utilize for the city-sponsored camp. And so we're working with the district officials to finalize that. Again, we'll let you know within hopefully the next week or so. We're finalizing that location.
No objections, I will go into.
Thank you.
Next item is 22-0219, a resolution authorizing the purchase of a replacement brush chipper. And this would be to replace an existing machine that is not practical to repair based on the damage and the age of the machine.
No objections, I will go into.
Next one is 22-0227, a resolution to enter into a donation agreement with the Aurora Rotary Club Foundation for their inventory of light displays.
No objections, I will go into.
22-0233, a resolution to...
Mayor, if I may.
I'm sorry, Alderman Mesa.
We have somebody from staff here in regards to this. I just want to ask this question in regards to, is Rotary still involved and to what extent?
The Rotary Club has kindly agreed to participate and volunteer and guide us in all events going forward. They're not necessarily obligated to, but we will invite them to partner with us in all these events going forward.
So collections will continue?
Pardon?
Collections will continue, but
As far as
collections of donations will continue, and who's going to oversee that responsibility, and who's going to distribute those funds, who's going to receive those funds?
So this is why we announced it and we wrote the donation agreement the way we did to give ourselves time from now till Christmas time to come up with a plan. But all that's going to be done by the city. We plan, as we said at Finance, we plan on continuing the tradition not only of the Light Festival, but the tradition of raising as much money as we can in the spirit of how Rotary has given out that money to well-deserving groups. So we're going to continue the pattern, but we're looking to modernize and continue to modernize. So we're going to use QR codes, we're going to use social media more. So we feel like we're going to be well-positioned to continue the tradition of supporting not-for-profits and even expand it because we believe we can continue to raise more funds going forward.
So the paper just recently mentioned that Rotary raised $52 grand this past winter, Christmas. So theoretically, open 50, that's going to go into city accounts, and the city's going to be in charge of distributing that?
We are going to be discussing that internally, but I believe the answer is yes. We will be distributing it like we distribute other similar funds.
So the Rotary Club's not going to have any involvement at this point, or New Rotary?
I'm not
Aurora
understanding.
Rotary Club's not going to have any involvement in regards to collection distribution?
They indicated to us they would still volunteer, but the city would ultimately be responsible. I mean, they're donating the
Right, but I'm talking about the
lights
collection.
and the process. They're turning it over to us because we want to see it continue.
Completely, so they're not going to be involved anymore with collecting donations or receiving donations and distributing donations?
That's correct.
Alderman Harper.
Will we know by next Tuesday how the proceeds will come in, how will it be administered? Will we know that by next Tuesday?
No, ma'am.
And that's not what we're voting on today, we're just voting on
You're just voting
collecting
on the
some lights.
donation agreement that's before you. And as I said, we are planning on working internally to then come back with a plan. But the overriding sentiment that was relayed to us by Rotary was that without the city stepping up and doing this, that they were really, really struggling to continue this tradition, which we all want to see continue. And that's why staff the mayor asked us to really prioritize this, and that's why the agreement is written the way it is, where Rotary will continue to be celebrated as the founders of this. They will be welcome, and they've indicated they want to continue to participate, but they don't want the responsibility anymore. You all are involved with many volunteer groups. One of the unfortunate consequences of the pandemic was it was a real struggle and a real hardship on not-for-profits and volunteerism. So we have the ability, thanks to Clayton and his tremendous team, to drop a couple social media posts and we get volunteers. And so we intend on blowing that out and really taking this to the next level. But we will never forget about Rotary's commitment and their involvement.
But for the purpose of this particular item, it's just they're voting on accepting a gift from Rotary. That's it.
Mr. Mayor.
Correct.
Mr. Mayor, I just needed him to express it like he expressed it in finance. For those that wasn't in the meeting, they may not know. And I know that, so the question will come up and others have asked, but you explained it the way you know how to explain it because you're involved with it. That's what I'm saying. So for us, for the rest of the council that wasn't on finance, they may not know that. So that's why the questions came from me. I just want you to hear.
Yes, ma'am.
And you said it.
And we appreciate that.
Alderman Searle.
I know in the agreement, it says that you'll continue the festival lights for as long as financially and practically feasible. What happens after 5 years it turns out it's not feasible? What happens with all of the display of lights done? Do we have an agreement to return this to the Rotary, or our decision?
This is a one-way ticket, and that's how they wanted it. So I don't mean to be flippant. We had a very in-depth, and we really appreciated what Rotary has stepped up and done and offered the city. There are many of my colleagues.
For 16 years.
I'm sorry?
For 16 years.
Correct. So there are a number of my colleagues who have reached out when they saw this and said, we'd love to have this type of arrangements with a local group with such an established tradition at such an awesome park. And so I feel, in having volunteered out there, having formerly been in Rotary, I feel like this is the natural next step for the city to partner. If there ever was going to be an opportunity to partner, this is the one, because it's going to create much needed funds that we can raise from visitors, from the display, and then we will come back to you and provide how we're going to do it. But it's going to be along the lines of how Rotary is traditionally done.
Yeah, I'm just asking questions on the mechanics of the agreement. I support the concept, and we all know that they've done a marvelous job, and we on the council have supported it in many different ways.
Right.
We want to see it continue, so this is good.
Alderman Bessapple. Alderman Bessapple.
I understand the reason Rotary's has approached the city, and I don't have an issue with taking over the lights. I think it's just important to make sure that they're still in town and they're still involved in the process of figuring out how that next step's going to work in terms of maybe helping also distribute some of those funds into the community.
That'll be up to Rotary and their interest in participating in the future.
And that's, to be clear, that's not what they asked for, right, going forward.
But if they do
They
decide,
didn't want to be in charge. They didn't want to be involved at all.
That is correct.
Wow. Okay. All right. I appreciate that.
But again, I don't want that coming off as negative in any way, shape, or form to Rotary. We addressed their wishes, but they indicated they wanted to continue to be involved as volunteers and supporters, and we've indicated, as we put it in the agreement, we're willing to continue to acknowledge that, and we will welcome all their participation. But at the end of the day, this is morphing into another city special event at the holiday period that's going to go along with our other special events. The beauty of this one is we're going to raise much needed funds for qualified not-for-profits in Aurora, continuing the tradition that Rotary has established.
and just to be clear, Rotary did this for 16 years, and the original folks that started this had been working on it for the entire 16 years. Many of them are retired, and some of them are moving away, and we wanted to make sure we continued this tradition that had become a time-honored tradition in the city of Aurora, and to make sure it did not go away. So we're happy to help Rotary, and any assistance we can get from them from this point on, we'll accept. But we're not looking to them to provide any additional assistance unless they choose to. But we will make sure that what they started all those years ago continues. And we appreciate the work they've done in our city for the last 16 years.
Alderman Buck.
Yeah. As was discussed at finance, I think just the bottom line is Rotary distributed funds to maybe 30 or so nonprofits. We will take strong consideration into looking at those 30 nonprofits and hopefully helping them out. We can't guarantee 100% that we're going to get all those 30, but we're going to take strong consideration into helping them just as they were helped through the Rotary.
We'd like to help more.
Amen.
Let's aim high.
All right.
Consent, no objections, item go on consent.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is 22-0233, resolution to award a contract to Builders Paving LLC in the amount of $8,354,588 and to appropriate $3.3 million of MLT funds for the 2022 citywide street resurfacing project. Building Paving LLC is the lowest possible bid and have done projects in the city in prior years.
No objections, item go on consent.
Next item is 22-0234, a resolution authorizing the third intergovernmental agreement between the City of Aurora and the Aurora Civic Center Authority regarding the management of River Edge Park and John Dunham Pavilion.
No objections, item go on consent.
Next item is 22-0235, a resolution ratifying payments in the amount of $12,952.40 and approving estimated payments in the amount of $52,952 to Richland Community College for police recruiting, training, lodging, and meals in 2022.
No objections, item go on consent.
Next one is 22-0237, introduce announcement of the availability of eligibility study and report and the redevelopment plan and project for the proposed East River Bend TIF district.
No objections, item go on consent.
And finally is 22-0242, a resolution authorizing Amita Health St. Joseph Hospital Elgin Employee Assistance Program from January 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2024.
No objections, item go on consent.
And Mr. Mayor, that concludes the Finance Committee report.
Thank you, sir. Chairwoman Hart Burns, can you give the Public Health, Safety, and Transportation Committee report, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Public Health Safety and Transportation met on March 22nd of this item to consider 220172. It's a resolution to allow the Aurora Financial Empowerment Center to apply for a Kane County Grant Victoria Riverboat Grant to help with the staffing and implementation costs to support a child savings account and financial literacy initiative.
Consent.
No objections, item go on consent.
Mr. Mayor, the young lady is here, both of them are here, so I just waited him. Thank you. That concludes public health, safety, and transportation, Mr. Mayor. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Chairwoman Garza, can you give the Infrastructure and Technology Committee report, please?
Yes, we met on March 21st, 22. First item is 22-0176, a resolution authorization to accept the bid for Superior Asphalt Materials LLC, North Aurora, Illinois, for the citywide asphalt purchase program.
No objections, item go on consent.
22-0183, a resolution authorizing the Director of Purchasing to purchase a 3-year subscription for a combined scheduling time and attendance solution for Ultimate Kronos Group, UKG, Weston, Florida, and Vector Solutions, Tampa, Florida, with 2 additional option years for a total award of $1,092,230.12 with a 10% of contingency.
No objections, item go on consent.
22-0184, a resolution to purchase 3-year subscription for a combined comprehensive fire records management system, RMS, from ESO Solutions, Austin, Texas, and a Vector Solutions, Tampa, Florida, with 2 additional option years for a total award of $299,202.72.
No objections, item go on consent.
22-0200, a resolution authorizing the purchase of 1 replacement in additional aerial forestry truck for the city of Aurora fleet from Atlet Industries Inc. for $345,929.
No objections, item go on consent.
22-0210, a resolution to award the New Haven Avenue water main replacement and storm sewer Extension Project located in Ward 6, Two Strokes Excavating, Inc., 903 Daisy Field Road, Rockford, Illinois, 601102, and the bid amount of $750,000.00.
No objections, time to vote, sir.
22-0213, a resolution awarding the bid to Service Sanitation located in Aurora, Illinois, for portable toilet rental service for various city of Aurora divisions.
No objections.
Mr. Mayor?
I'm sorry, I'll vote.
Yeah, quick question for staff on this. I just want to make sure, because this goes through, for a number of divisions in the city. Well, for the alderman's office in the past, when we have looked at these rates and tried to get them, we're normally, in the past, we received what we call rack rate. We did not, we were not given the negotiated rate that the other departments in the city would give, and I want to make sure that this was going to also apply to the alderman's office.
Joan Folger, Director of Purchasing. The Alderman's office should be getting those rates, especially Vince gets those rates, even those that aren't on the detail. They should be. We've had conversations with our contacted Service Sanitation, and we've never had a problem before. So if your staff is not getting that rate, please let us know, and we'll make sure we get that taken care of.
Okay, excellent, thank you.
No objections, time to vote, sir.
Okay. 22-0214, a resolution for the acceptance, the bid pricing from Brewery Landscape for moving and landscape maintenance for city-owned park parcels.
No objections, time to vote, sir.
22-0216, a resolution to authorize the Director of Purchasing, to execute contract with the Crawford Murphy entitled Aurora, Illinois, in the amount of $105,600 for the water main flushing.
No objections, time to vote, sir.
22-0225, a resolution for the acceptance of bid pricing from contractors for moving landscape maintenance for several city departments, bid 22-06, for the 1-year contract with the 2 optional 1-year extension upon mutual consent.
No objections, time to vote, sir.
That's all we have, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Chairman Bell, can you give the Rules Administration Procedure Committee report, please?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Rules Administration Procedure Committee met on March 15th, 2022, reviewed the following items for your consideration. First item, 22-0132, resolution approving the 2022 Ward 9 Black Party Assistance Program.
No objections, time to vote, sir.
And the last item, 22-0208, resolution approving the appointment of members to the Innovation and Technology Advisory Commission.
No objections, time to vote, sir.
That concludes the wrap committee report.
All righty. That concludes our committee reports. Let's go on to the mayor's report. I don't really have one other than to say congratulations to our water production department for again winning the best water in the state of Illinois. I see we have Tim Stroke, the leader down there of Public Works. Man, thanks for everything you do. We appreciate it. This water is delicious, brother. A-Town in the house. And that's the 6th time we won that statewide award. So we got some of the best folks in the state working for the city of Aurora, and they keep taking us to the top. So again, thank you very much. All right, I'll turn this over to Alderman Donnell of Ward 4, who will be presenting the Alderman's Corner today.
Thank you, Mayor.
Fourth Ward is large and diverse, as many of you are, but we have some landmarks just for those that aren't totally familiar with the ward. West Aurora High School is in the ward, Aurora University, and the old Copley Hospital at Bardwell, all in the Fourth Ward. We've divided up the ward into neighborhood groups. We have 6 neighborhood groups. When I was first elected, I created the Tomcat Fourth Ward, which is in the blue to the right, and we also expanded other areas so that we have a complete coverage with neighborhood groups. we try to have meetings. We're getting back to that right now in public meetings, and people really appreciate that. So there's a whole list of the neighborhood groups that comprise the 4th Ward. 2021 projects that we're finishing up on. Section Street Storm Sewer, that's over just south of Bardwell School. A nice project to help the drainage over there, and it did impact several of the lead service lines, but again, with the state work, those were at no charge to the owners, so it worked out well. Lakewood water main, got a new water main because it was breaking pretty bad, and the AU neighborhood more than quadrupled the size of their storm sewer, solving a lot of basement flooding problems in the AU neighborhood. 2022 4th Ward projects include the Sard, Mason, Oliver water and light main looping. This is close down to the river. This area of the water main tends to be lower. Things kind of get rusty down in there, so this is really going to help down there. So that project's already in the works. Lebanon water main. The Lebanon water main just south of Parker breaks frequently, so that's one of the highest ones on our list this year. Galena signal enhancement project. The light fixtures and the stoplight fixtures along Galena were made out of that self-weathering steel that really didn't pass the test of time. So we have a grant to replace those, and we're starting with the construction work now. One other major project that's going to be located in the 4th Ward is the combined sewer overflow facility on Sard Avenue. We have another one of these facilities that treats the stormwater before it enters the Fox River, just north of River Edge Park. This is an area which we still need it on the south side to meet our mandated EPA guidelines. I do get questions on this sometimes when people ask, what is that number on my water bill for water treatment plant? And that's what this is for, and we're now going to be working on the engineering for that. And again, the main purpose of this, not to be blunt, is to just keep sewage from going in the river, which I think we can all get on board with. Economic development in the ward. Enduro Coffee Roastery is just down on River Street. While they have their coffee shop up north in Mike's ward, the actual roastery that they use for all their distribution is down on River Street. Right next to Enduro is the Foreign Exchange Brewery, which is the big squarish kind of building. I think it looks like a big Rubik's Cube kind of. It's going to be a brewery. It's also going to be a restaurant. I understand they're going to partner with Gilderson, so we're real happy to have them there. And also in the same neighborhood is the River Street Plaza. Many of you are very familiar with that, but we recently expanded the number of uses that could go into that to try to stimulate growth there. We already have a school for students with disabilities going in there. So things happen in the south downtown. Another project that's near and dear to, I think, all of our hearts is the Bloomhaven project, which is the former Copley. We have some beautiful renderings there of what the building looks like, but I want to tell you that those photographs, I got a tour of this recently, those are actual photographs of the apartments in there. This is apartments of Weston Bridges, which will be for with adults with disabilities to live there, and the new section to the right. And then the Bardwell Residences will be for the seniors, which is on the lower left-hand. That's what that's going to be, and all of these projects are slated to go full on this summer. So it's finally happening. I thank the entire council for your support on making this happen. It's a real impact to the neighborhood, unbelievable changes over there. People are very happy about it. West High, I kind of reached out to West High and I saw what's happening over there. They're going to build a new stadium, new turf, new fencing around. It's going to be a beautiful facility. I'm also working over there with our APD police, the engineering staff, and the staff at School District 129. We're working, as always, around the high school. You have some traffic around when you drop off and you pick up. So we're working on some plans that may end up doing some infrastructure, trying to get cars to go where they need to go, keep things safe for the kids over there. Aurora University has a big footprint down in the south and west side. Several years ago, in 2020, they opened a 500-car parking garage, which it continues to pay big dividends. While we haven't completely solved the parking problem over there, is some student housing over there. Most people say that it's helped tremendously. And just for the record, that while the staff are required to park there, the students are not. So, you know, some people say, why don't the students park there? Why don't you make them? The university really can't. So they ask the staff to park here, so it's helped a lot. The Student Success Center, which is the building in the middle, is kind of the student union. It was opened in 2001. It's a beautiful building that kind of mirrors the Wackerland's architecture over there, and it's really a great thing to help the kids in their student success. And the newest building, which is, this is a rendering on the right, is the Betty Parker Tucker Center for Neurodiversity, which will be open this fall, which really focuses on students with autism. There's a special design, which I observed over in the Weston Bridges building. Muted colors, muted lights, everything to try to help students that might have autism be more successful. And AU is really proud of a program. They're working with Fortune 500 companies to find a place where these students will excel in the workplace, and there's a lot of call for what they can do. Community events and programs. I joined together with my colleagues at Wards 4, 5, and 6 on a shred event this summer over at Jefferson Middle School. A very popular event. People get to watch their things be shredded right out in front of them, so they're very supportive of that. Teresa Shoemaker, she wanted to stick around so I could talk about her a little bit, but I have provided support directly to CIS for the back-to-school programs that are throughout our community. We have a big one over there at Greenfield in the 4th Ward, but others, so she really stretches our dollars over there, so thank you for that, Teresa. The annual Codes for Kids program. This program was started many, many years ago by our own Chiquita Hart Burns and Wani Garza as a ward project. And then in 2010, Archie Needham, our president of the Kiwanis Club, said, hey, let's take this citywide. So it really is a citywide program. The Kiwanis do a lot of work in it. Again, my friend Teresa Shoemaker is really my co-chair on that. I had the honor of chairing this year, and there's some pictures of the kids. And I want to thank the council especially for your ongoing support of this program. In the last 10 years, over 20,000 coats have been given to kids that need them in Aurora. And I'm going to finish with the Kiwanis one-day cleanup project. I appreciate the opportunity to move my speech up a little bit this time. This Saturday, we're going to be cleaning up not only the Fox River, but Indian Creek. It's a project we've done for a number of years, but last year we kind of had to curtail that. But this year we'll be back, and we're looking for volunteers, so anybody that wants to come out and help, it's a great project to clean up primarily the 4th Ward, 6th Ward, and 4th Ward. So. And that's it for our Alderman's Quarter. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Alderman Donnell. You guys are cooking with hot oil in the 4th Ward over there. Appreciate all your hard work. Yes, yes. All right, there is no need for a closed session this evening. Is there a motion to adjourn this meeting? Motion made by Alderman Burns, seconded by Alderman Franco. All in favor? Motion carries by voice vote. All right, good night all. Make sure you take your Aurora